Rashtarashitashmar Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupa Rashtarashitashmar Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupa Rashtarashitashmar Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupa Rashtarashitashmar Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Pavishtam Vishnupa Rashatarashatashmar Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitil Pavishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Pavishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nitil Pavishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shiksheta Mandala Gora Mandala Vrajamandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Bharata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Ki Jai Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्रीनिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीश्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तम् अनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सार्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भागवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितराङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दं। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo Ganga Didi, Dandavat Pranams, Madhavi Didi, Dandavat Pranams, thanks Ganga Didi. Prajumna Prabhu, thank you Prajumna Prabhu, Yashji, Mantra Murti Mataji, Rup Manjari Didi. Thanks for all the birthday wishes, everybody. Oh, that's really nice, Prajumna Prabhu. Ah, that's the best wishes. Thank you, Prajumna Prabhu. Prajumna, how is what so far? Okay, I'm gonna come back here, but let's see. We didn't actually look over this here yet, so I thought this is the 8th canto at a glance. So the 6 types of persons in each of the 14 manvantaras in a day of Brahma. Okay, so these are the 6 different types of persons. There's the Manu, the Devas, the demigods, Manu Putra, the sons of Manu, the Sura Ishwaras, that's Indra, Sura Ishwara is Indra, Rishaya, the 7 chief sages, and Anksha Avatara. Those are the Manvantar incarnations. Huh. Okay, what's the difference between the Manvantar incarnations and Manu? I don't actually know. Anyway, so Manu reestablishes the 4 parts of Dharma. Devas share in the results of the sacrifices. The Manuputra, they discharge the orders of the Lord and enjoy the results of the sacrifices. Sura Ishvara Indra, he enjoys the opulences of the 3 worlds and maintains all living entities by pouring rains. The 7 chief sages, at the end of the Chatu Yuga, they establish Sanatan Dharma. And the Manvantar incarnations appoints the other 5 types of personalities. And so now we're in part A, the first 4 manvantaras. So in this chapter, we're reading about Svayambhuva Manu's perfection. Svayambhuva, the first Manu, renounces his kingdom and worships Kṛṣṇa with prayers. Some demons attack him, and Lord Yajña kills them and protects him. Shukadev describes the 6 types of personalities in each of the 4 manvantaras. Okay. So Manvantar is talking about the time period and the incarnation within. I don't know, we'll find out more soon. And then in the next chapter, we're going to read about the deliverance of Gajendra, which is such a cool story. And there's a really nice article by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on this. He gives a very beautiful, so maybe we could read that afterwards. Then part B is the 5th and 6th manvantaras. So right now we're on the first 4. And then once we get up to chapter 5, we'll begin the 5th and the 6th manvantaras. Chapter 5 to 12. So in that time we'll read about the Samudra Manthan, the churning of the milk ocean, and then the universal war, and Mohini Murti bewilders Shiva. So that's part B, and then part C, it's the present, the 7th manvantar, and the future manvantaras, 8th to 14th. So that's part C, and then part D, Bali Maharaj and Vamandev, and then part E is Matsya Avatar. So these are all the topics. Let's go over that again. We're going to go over the 6 types of We're going to go over the first 4 manvantaras, which is which has deliverance of Gajendra, then Samudramanthan, Universal War, and Mohini Murti, bewilders Shiva, and then I like to go over things again and again. Bali Maharaj and Vamandev, and then Matsya Avatar. Cool. So this is what we read yesterday. Pariksit asks about his activities in various manvantaras. He said, I heard about Svayambhuva Manvantar. Now I wish to hear about the other manvantaras. Then Svayambhuva Manu's, Shukadeva Goswami explains Svayambhuva Manu's renunciation and austerities. 6 Manus have passed in this day of Brahma. Svayambhuva Manu's daughters, Akuti and Devahuti, give birth to Yajña Murti and Kapila, and Svayambhuva Manu renounces and performs austerities. Then Svayambhuva Manu's prayers to the Lord. Let's actually read from here. Okay, so here's a link from the Canto 7 to Canto 8. Shukadeva Goswami has described the dynasty of Svayambhuva Manu in great detail in the previous cantos. In the 8th canto, he describes the other Manus in this day of Lord Brahma in response to the request of Pariksit Maharaj. Pariksit asks about the Lord's activities in various manvantaras. My dear Guru, I have heard from you about Svayambhuva Manu's dynasty. I wish to hear about the other Manus. Kindly describe. The wise, the Kavayo, describe the appearance, the Janma, and Karma, the activities of the Supreme Lord. Please describe that Supreme Creator's activities during the past, present, and future manvantaras. There's a note here. The Supreme Lord has different varieties of incarnations, including the Guna avatars, Lila avatars, Manvant avatars, and Yuga avatars, as described in the Shastras. So, to the above questions of Pariksit Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami replies as follows. Svayambhuva Manu's renunciation and austerities. In the present day of Lord Brahma, 6 Manus have already passed, and the first of them was Svayambhuva Manu. From Svayambhuva Manu's daughters Akuti and Devahuti, the Supreme Lord appeared as Yajña Murti and Kapila respectively. Okay. They appeared for preaching religion and knowledge. Kapila's activities are already described in Canto 3, chapters 25 to 33. Now I shall describe the activities of Yajña, the son of Akuti. See verse 18 in specific. Okay, so beginning from verse 18, so we'll read about that today. Okay. Link. A prominent activity of Lord Yajña was protecting Svayambhuva Manu from some demons. So Shukadeva Goswami now begins to describe the renunciation of Svayambhuva. Svayambhuva was by nature detached from material enjoyment. Thus he gave up his kingdom and entered the forest with his wife Shatarupa to practice austerities. Note, a Rajarshi or saintly king has no desire for sense gratification. He renounces his royal kingdom at the right time to spend the rest of his life in devotional service. Svayambhuva Manu performed austerities for 100 years, standing on one leg on the bank of river Sunanda. At that time, he chanted as follows. There's a note. The word man, or manusha, is derived from Manu. So all members of the human society are descendants of the original Manu. Since Manu is the original father of humanity, human society should follow his instructions, as mentioned in his prayers to the Supreme Lord in the next section, verses 9 to 18. Svayambhuva Manu's prayers to the Lord. You know, my name is actually, that's my birth name. That's what my parents named me. Manu. the Lord's unparalleled glories, transcendental to transcendental to matter. The Lord created this material world of animation. He was not created by this material world. When everything is silent, he stays awake as a witness. The jiva does not know him, but he knows everything. The Supersoul is present everywhere in the universe, wherever there are animate or inanimate beings. One must accept only that which is allotted to him. One should not infringe upon others' property. Tena taktena bhunjita ma gredha kasyasvidhanam. Note: since all property belongs to the Lord, everything should be offered to him. We should take only the prasad. Tena taktena bhunjita. Fighting amongst ourselves to take more than we need is thief mentality. Supersoul, the seer and friend of all. He sees everything, but no one sees him. His power to see is never diminished. That Lord is the source of all beings and resides in them. Everyone should worship him, the friend of all jivas. Note: because we lack perfect knowledge, we cannot see God, but a little deliberation can help one perceive presence of God everywhere. This requires training. By following Guru's instructions and studying the scriptures, one can understand that God is present before us, seeing everything, beyond material designations or dualities. He has no beginning, no end, and no middle. He has no conceptions of mine or theirs, and inside or outside. Such dualities of this world are absent from him. He is the form of the universe, its source. He is the ultimate truth and complete in greatness. Supreme Master of everything. The cosmos is his body. He has millions of names. He is the supreme controller. He is the absolute truth, self-effulgent, unborn, and the oldest. He carries out the creation and destruction of the universe by his own material energy. Yet, he remains in his spiritual energy and is untouched by the activities of material energy. Okay, 14 to 16. Okay, so this is what we're going to read now. Seek Krishna's shelter and avoid material bondage. Oh, for Juniper, well, the day just began, so pretty good so far. And Madhavi Didi, thank you. Haribol. Bhakti Yoga, thank you. And Yashji. Oh, thank you. Haribol, Raseshwari Mataji. Thank you, Yashji. That's really sweet. Alright, so let's begin text 14. Atagre rishaya karman ihante karma hetave ihamano hi purusha prayoniham prapadyate. Wait, what was the previous verse? What did we end up with yesterday? The entire cosmic manifestation is the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, who has millions of names and unlimited potencies. He is self-effulgent, unborn, and changeless. He is the beginning of everything, but he has no beginning. Because he has created this cosmic manifestation by his external energy, the universe appears to be created, maintained, and annihilated by him. Nonetheless, he remains inactive in his spiritual energy and is untouched by the activities of the material energy. Therefore, to enable people to reach the stage of activities that are not tinged by fruitive results, great saints first engage people in fruitive activities. For unless one begins by performing activities as recommended in the Shastras, one cannot reach the stage of liberation, or activities that produce no reactions. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Lord Krishna advises, Yagyartat karmanon yatra loko yang karma bandhana. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed.
Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Generally, everyone is attracted to hard labor for becoming happy in this material world. But although various activities are going on all over the world simply for the sake of happiness, unfortunately, only problems are being created from such fruitive activities. Therefore, it is advised that active persons engage in activities of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, which are called Yajña, because then they will gradually come to the platform of devotional service. Yajña means Lord Vishnu, the Yajña Purush, the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Bhoktaram Yajñatapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the enjoyer, and therefore, if we begin our activities for His satisfaction, we will gradually lose our taste for material activities. Sutta Goswami declared to the great assembly of sages at Naimisharanya, Atapumbir Dijashreshta Varnashrama Viphagashaha Swanushtitasya Dharmasya Sangsiddhir Haritoshanam. O best among the twice-born, it is concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging his prescribed duties, dharma according to caste divisions and order of life, is to please the Lord Hari. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.2.13. According to Vedic principles, everyone must act according to his classification as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi. Everyone should progress toward perfection by acting in such a way that Kṛṣṇa will be pleased. Sangsiddhir Haritoshanam. One cannot please Kṛṣṇa by sitting idly. One must act according to the directions of the spiritual master for the sake of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then one will gradually come to the stage of pure devotional service. As confirmed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.5.12. Naishkarmyam apyachuta bhava varjitam nashobhate jnanam alang niranjanam. Knowledge of self-realization, even though freed from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible God. Jnanis recommends that one adopt Naishkarmya by not doing anything but simply meditating and thinking of Brahman. But this is impossible unless one realizes Parabrahma Shri Kṛṣṇa. If there is no Kṛṣṇa consciousness, any kind of activity, be it philanthropic, political, or social, simply causes karma bandhan, bondage to material work. As long as one is entangled in karma bandhan, one must accept different types of bodies that spoil the human form of facility. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita 6.3, karma yoga is recommended. Arurukshor muner yogam karma karanam uchyate yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shama karanam uchyate. For one who is a neophyte in the yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who has already attained to yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Nonetheless, karmendriyani sanyaya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudatma mityachara sa uchyate. One who restrains the senses and organs of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. It's Bhagavad Gita 3.6. One should act for Kṛṣṇa very seriously in order to become fully Kṛṣṇa conscious, and should not sit down to imitate such great personalities as Haridas Thakur. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur condemned such imitation. He said, Dushta mana tume kisera Vaishnava pratishtara tare nirjanera ghare tava harinam kevala kaitava. My dear mind, what kind of devotee are you? Simply for cheap adoration, you sit in a solitary place and pretend to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but this is all cheating. Recently, at Mayapur, an African devotee wanted to imitate Haridas Thakur, but after 15 days, he became restless and went away. Do not suddenly try to imitate Haridas Thakur. Engage yourself in Krishna conscious activities, and gradually you will come to the stage of liberation. Muktir hivanyata rupam surupena vyavastitihi. Text 15. ihate bhagavanisho nahi tatra visarjate atmalabhena purnartho navasiddhanti nutam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is full in opulence by his own gain. Yet, he acts as the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of this material world. In spite of acting in that way, he is never entangled. Hence, devotees who follow in his footsteps are also never entangled. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yagyartat karmanonyatra loko yang karma bandhana. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. If we do not act in Krishna consciousness, we shall be entangled, like silkworms in cocoons. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, appears in order to teach us how to work so that we will not be entangled in this material world. Our real problem is that we are entangled in materialistic activities. And because we are conditioned, our struggle continues through punishment and material existence in one body after another, in different forms of life. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Mamai vangsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana, mana sangsta nindriyani prakriti stani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entities are actually minute forms who are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is full in everything, and the small particles of the Lord are also originally qualified like him. But because of their minute existence, they are infected by material attraction and thus entangled. We must therefore follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then, like Krishna, who is never entangled by his material activities of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, we will have nothing for which to lament. Nava siddhantiye nutam. Krishna personally gives instructions in Bhagavad Gita, and anyone who follows these instructions is liberated. Following Krishna's instructions is possible when one is a devotee, for Krishna instructs that one should become a devotee. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. That's Bhagavad Gita 1865. Always thinking of Krishna means chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. But unless one is an initiated devotee, he cannot do this. As soon as one becomes a devotee, he engages in deity worship, madhyaji. A devotee's business is to offer obeisances to the Lord and the spiritual master constantly. This principle is the recognized way to come to the platform of bhakti. As soon as one comes to this platform, he gradually understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and simply by understanding Krishna, one is liberated from material bondage. Tam iha manam nirahankritam buddhang nirashisham purnam ananyachoditam nring shikshayantang nijavartma sangstitang prabhung prapadde kila dharma bhavanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, works just like an ordinary human being, yet he does not desire to enjoy the fruits of work. He is full in knowledge, free from material desires and diversions, and completely independent. As the supreme teacher of human society, he teaches his own way of activities, and thus he inaugurates the real path of religion. I request everyone to follow him. Purport. This is the sum and substance of our Krishna consciousness movement. We are simply requesting human society to follow in the footsteps of the teacher of Bhagavad Gita. Follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita as it is, and your life will be successful. That is the summary of the Krishna consciousness movement. The organizer The organizer of the Krishna consciousness movement is teaching everyone how to follow Lord Ramachandra, how to follow Lord Krishna, and how to follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this material world, we need a leader for a monarchy or good government. Lord Sri Ramachandra, by his practical example, showed how to live for the benefit of all human society. He fought with demons like Ravan. He carried out the orders of his father, and he remains the faithful husband of Mother Sita. Thus, there is no comparison to Lord Ramachandra's acting as an ideal king. Indeed, people still hanker for a Rama Rajya, a government conducted like that of Lord Ramachandra. Similarly, although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he taught his disciple and devotee Arjuna how to lead a life ending in going back home, back to Godhead. Takta deham punarajanma naiti mam eti sorajuna. All teachings, political, economic, social, religious, cultural, and philosophical, are to be found in Bhagavad Gita. One only has to follow them strictly. The Supreme Personality of Godhead also comes as Lord Chaitanya just to play the part of a pure devotee. Thus, the Lord teaches us in different ways just to make our lives successful, and Svayambhuva Manu requests us to follow him. Svayambhuva Manu is a leader of mankind, and he has given a book called Manu Sanghita to guide human society. Herein, he directs us to follow the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnations. These incarnations are described in Vedic literature, and Jayadev Goswami has described 10 important incarnations in summary. Keshavadrita Meena Sharira Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. I missed the Jai in the first one. Keshavadrita Buddha Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare, etc. Swayambhuva Manu instructs us to follow the instructions of God's incarnations, especially Krishna's incarnations of Bhagavad Gita, as it is. As appreciating Bhakti Marg as instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thus depicted the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshartameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripam Buddhiryastamahang Prapadde. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya-lila 6:254. Let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge, his devotional service, and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy. Let me surrender unto his lotus feet. That's Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak 674. In this age of Kali, people cannot follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore the Lord himself takes the part of Sri Krishna Chaitanya to teach personally how to become Krishna conscious. He asks everyone to follow him and to become a guru to deliver the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. Jare deko tare koho Krishna Upadesh Amar Agyay Guru Hoya tar e desh. Instructs everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. That's Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 7:128. The coherent purpose of Lord Ramachandra, Lord Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to teach human society how to be happy by following the instructions of the Supreme Lord. 17. Shishuka Uvacha Iti mantra panishadam Vyaharantam Samahitam Drishtva Sura Yatu Dhana Jagdhum Abhyadravam Kshuda. Shukadeva Goswami continued, Swayambhuva Manu was thus in a trance, chanting the mantras of Vedic instruction known as the Upanishads. Upon seeing him, the Rakshasas and Asuras, being very hungry, wanted to devour him. Therefore they ran after him with great speed. Tang satavastitan vikshya yagya sarva gato hari yamai parivrito devar hatva shasat trivishtapam. The Supreme Lord Vishnu, who sits in everyone's heart, appearing as Yagyapati, observes that the Rakshasas and demons were going to devour Swayambhuva Manu. Thus, the Lord, accompanied by his sons, named Yamas, and all the other demigods, killed the demons and Rakshasas. He then took the post of Indra and began to rule the heavenly kingdom. Purport. The various names of the demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, and so on, are not personal names. They are names of different posts. In this regard, we understand that Lord Vishnu sometimes becomes Brahma or Indra when there is no suitable person to occupy these posts. Swarochisho dvitiyastu manuragne suto bhavat dyumatsu shena rochishmat pramukhas tasya chatmajaha. The son of Agni, named Svarochisha, became the second Manu. His several sons were headed by Dyumat, Sushena, and Rochishmat. Purport. Manvantaram Manu Deva Manuputra Sureshwara Rishayongshavatarascha Hare Shadvidam Uchate. There are many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Manu, the Manuputra, the sons of Manu, the king of the heavenly planets, and the seven great sages are all partial incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Manu himself, his sons Priyavapad, the demigods created by Daksha, and the rishis like Marichi were all partial incarnations of the Lord during the reign of Swayambhuva Manu. During that time, the incarnation of the Lord as Yajña took charge of ruling the heavenly planets. The next Manu was Swarochisha. The Manus and the sages and demigods are further described in the following 11 verses. Okay, so we're going to go through a bunch of names now. Tatrendro rachanastvasid devascha tushitadaya urjasambadaya sapta rishayo brahmavadina. During the reign of Swarochisa, the post of Indra was assumed by Rochana, the son of Yajña. Tushita and others became the principal demigods, and Urja, Stamba, and others became the 7 saints. Oh, really? So the Sapta Rishis are also just posts. It's not actual persons. All of them were faithful devotees of the Lord. Rishestu Vedashirasas Tushita nama patnyabhut tasyam jagye tato devo vibhuritya bhivishrutaha. Vedashira was a very celebrated rishi. From the womb of his wife, whose name was Tushita, came the avatar named Vibhu. Ashtashiti sahasrani munayo ye dhrita vrataha anvashikshan vratam tasya Kaumara brahmacharinaha. Vibhu remained a brahmachari and never married throughout his life. From him, 88,000 other saintly persons took lessons on self-control, austerity, and similar behavior. Tritya uttamo nama yavrata sutta manu pavana srinjayo yagya hotradyas tatsuta nripa. O king, the third Manu, Uttama, was the son of King Priyavrata. Among the sons of this Manu were Pavana, Srinjaya, and Yagyahotra. I just want to see, are there good charts in here? This section? Yeah, see, here's a chart. Okay, just so you get what we're going through, it's gonna go through who the Manu is, the Manvantar, and then who the Devas were, Putra was, who the Sura Ishwar, who Indra was, and who the 6 rishis were, and the Manvantar incarnations. And then the Lord's activities at that time. We're going that for these 4 different Manus. So where are we? We're on the 3rd one now. This one, Uttama. O king, the 3rd Manu, Uttama, was a king Priyavrata. Among the sons of this Manu were Pavana, Srinja, and Yajña. Vashishta Taya Sapta Rishaya Pramadadaya Satya Veda Shruta Bhadra Deva Idrastu Satyajit. During the reign of the 3rd Manu, Pramada and other sons of Vashishta became the 7 sages. The Satyas, Vedashrutas, and Bhadras became the demigods, and Satyajit was selected to be Indra, the king of heaven. Dharmasya sunrita tu Bhagavan Purushottama Satyasena iti kyato Jata Satyavratai saha. In this Manvantar, the Supreme Personality appeared from the womb of Sunrita, who was the wife of Dharma, the demigod in charge of religion. The Lord was celebrated as Satyasena, and he appeared with other demigods known as the Satyavrats. Sonrita Vratadushilam Asato Yaksha Rakshasan Bhuta Druho Bhuta Ganangs Chavadhit Satyajit Sakaha. Satyasena, along with his friend Satyajit, who is the king of heaven, in Indra, killed all the untruthful, impious, and misbehaved yakshas, rakshasas, and ghostly living entities who gave pain to other living beings. Okay, the Lord is Satyasena. Sorry, I forgot that part. Chaturta Ubhrata Manurnamna Chatamasa Pritukyatir Naraketur Ityadya Dashatat Sutaha. The brother of the 3rd Manu, Uttama, was celebrated by the name Tamasa, and he became the 4th Manu. Tamasa had 10 sons, headed by Prithu, Kyati, Nara, and Ketu. Satyaka Harayo Vira Devastri Shika Ishvara Jyotirdhamadaya Sapta Rishayas Tamasentare. During the reign of Tamasa Manu, among the demigods were the Satyakas, Haris, and Viras. The heavenly king Indra was Trishika. The sages in Saptarshi Dham were headed by Jyotirdhama. Deva Vaidritayo Nama Vidritestanaya Nripa Nashta Kalena Yarveda Vidrita Svena Tejasa. O king, in the Tamasa Manvantar, Vidriti, who were known as the Vaiditris, became demigods. Since in course of time the Vedic authority was lost, these demigods, by their own powers, protected the Vedic authority. Purport. In the Tamasa Manvantar, demigods, and one of them was known as the Vaidritis. The duties of the demigods is to protect the authority of the Vedas. The word Devata refers to one who carries the authority of the Vedas, whereas Rakshasas are those who defy the Vedic authority. If the authority of the Vedas is lost, the entire universe becomes chaotic. Therefore, it is the duty of the demigods, as well as kings and aides of government, to give full protection of the Vedic authority. Otherwise, human society in a case will not be. Harinam Harimedasa Harir Ittahrito Yena Shito Grahat. Also, in this manvantara, the Supreme Lord Vishnu took birth from the womb of Harini, the wife of Medha, and he was known as Hari. Hari saved his devotee Gajendra, the king of the elephants, from the mouth of a crocodile. 31. Shirajovacha Brayana etate Badarayana etate Shrotum icha maham Hariryata gajapatim grahagrastam amumuchat. King Pariksit, my Lord Badarayani, we wish to hear from you in detail how the king of the elephants, when attacked by a crocodile, was delivered by Hari. Tatkatasu mahatpunyam dhanyam swastyayam shubham yatra yatrottama shloko bhagavan giyate hari. Any literature or narration in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Uttama Shloka, is and glorified is certainly great, pure, glorious, auspicious, and all good. Purport. Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world simply by describing Krishna. We have published many books, including Srimad Charitamrita in 17 volumes, 400 pages each, as Bhagavad Gita and the Nectar of Devotion. We are also publishing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in 60 volumes. Wherever a speaker holds discourses from these books and an audience hears him, this will create a good and auspicious situation. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness must be done very carefully by the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, especially the sannyasis. This will create an auspicious atmosphere. Shri Sutta Uvacha Parikshitaivam Satubhadarayani Prayopavishtena Katasu Chodita Uvacha Vipra Pratinandya Parthivam Muda Muninam Sadasi Smasrinvatang. Shri Sutta Goswami said, O Brahmans, when Pariksit, awaiting impending death, thus requested Shukadev Goswami to speak. Shukadev Goswami, encouraged by the king's words, offered respects to the king and spoke with great pleasure in the assembly of sages who desired to hear him. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 1st chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Manus, Administrators of the Universe. Alright, so tomorrow we will read The Elephant Gajendra's Crisis. Alright. Read a description of the Trikuta mountain. Gajendra enters the lake in the Ritumat garden, and then the crocodile attacks Gajendra. Alright. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams Krishna Govinda Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Mohan Ju ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Shala Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shala Gurudev ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Shala Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Shala Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shala Prabhupada ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Shala Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Sorry, please stop for a second. Let me back up again. Nitil Pravishta Vishnupad Shala Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Vishnupad Shala Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Shila Gaur Kishoras Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath. Shad Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari. Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Nam Acharya Shila Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय. सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जय. श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जय. श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जय. श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय. श्री भक्ति देवी की जय. श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय. श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय. श्रीनिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश्रा कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः. वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Dandavat pranams, dear devotees. Dandavat pranams, Krishna Prabhu. Haribo. See you all tomorrow. Yeah, there are lots of Manu's days. It's the whole thing, isn't it? The whole 8th canto. Alright. Haribo, everybody. Haribo, Jashji, and everybody else. Bhakti Yoga, Pradyumna Prabhu. Everybody. I'm not going to say everybody's name now because it'll take too long. See you